Hi, I'm Jess from Vintaj. I'm excited to share with you our new Patinas in Glaze by Ranger. They're specially formulated to adhere to metal. These are very cool. What I'd like to show you here are the color palette that we've created. We have 15 blendable colors. You can see that they are sold in groups of 3. We have grouped them together to reflect natural elements that patina over time. Many people ask the difference between the alcohol inks and the patinas. The main difference is alcohol inks are transparent ink. You could apply them to our metal, however you would have to seal alcohol inks, and you could do that with our glaze. And the patinas are opaque inks that have been specially formulated to adhere to metal. We're going to start with the Weathered Copper collection of Jade, Moss, and Verdigris. I love this color grouping, it's beautiful, and we're going to work on an altered blank. This is natural brass, and it has been embossed with one of our Lily Damask Deco embossed dies. So what you're going to get started with is you're going to use a non-stick craft sheet. You're going to have a paintbrush. I prefer to use a flat tip paintbrush when applying the patinas. It covers a larger area than a fine tip. And water and paper towel. You'll also need a metal reliefing block. So let's get started. I'm going to shake each bottle just a little bit. And the patinas are very fast drying, so you only need a very small amount to get started. So I'm going to create my color palette by dropping a small amount of each color onto the nonstick craft sheet. And it doesn't matter how you start. You could start with the base of any of these colors. I'm just going to go ahead and choose to start with the Jade. And instead of brushing the patina on, what I tend to do is dab it more. That really gets the color in the backgrounds. And I work with the other colors while it's still wet. As you can see, they're blendable. So now I'm going in with the Verdigris along the sides. And then we'll add in some moss to finish it off. And you can go on top of other colors to blend. If you want more of a mottled look, what you'll do is use your paper towel, just slightly dab a little bit, and you can remove a little bit of the color. You can always go back in and add more color if you feel like you want to add some to a different area as well. Alright, and you'll use water to clean your paintbrush off right away. And now with the metal reliefing block, what I'm going to do is use the dark gray side. This is the heaviest grit. This was made to remove paints and inks off of raised surfaces. Here, and since I've relieved this right away, I was able to bring back the brass in the raised embossed areas. And this is permanent, so it won't scratch off or be removed with water. It's completely permanent as is. Another fun technique is applying patina in a single color to some of our art metal charms and embellishments. It really brings out the detail. Here I'm going to use Jade on the skeleton key and agate on the owl. So I have my colors already applied to the nonstick craft sheet, and again I'm just going to go in and completely coat this by dabbing it. I'm going to go ahead and go in with the agate over this little owl charm. Alright, and I'm just going to lightly touch the edges with the reliefing block. And again, you don't have to do this, but you could kind of highlight some of those raised areas to give a really old antique look. And same here with the owl. And you have some fun charms and embellishments to include into jewelry or altered art. I'm going to do another piece of decorative art metal using 3 colors this time in the glaze. So I'm going to do 2 colors as the base and then work the cobalt in as a glaze on top. So this is our antique window. It includes ruby, cobalt, and opalite. And I'm going to go in with the light opalite and fill in the background here. Okay, I'm going to go in with some of this ruby and just dab it along the edges. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go in again and heat this with the Heat It tool before I apply my glaze. So what I'm going to do is use the glaze as an extender. So I have about 1 part patina to about 2 to 3 parts glaze. And you do not want to dilute the patinas with water. So if you want more of that washed or transparent look to layer on top of colors, you definitely want to mix it with our glaze. I just want a nice light wash of this dark blue over my colors. So I have a small amount on my brush. You can see I'm brushing it on. I'm going to go ahead and use my paper towel just to lightly dab some of those areas. You can see that this cobalt color is getting inside some of the impressions, so it's deepened the impressions. If you'd like to relief it, you can go ahead and go in, and now I'm going to just touch some of those highlighted raised areas by reliefing. You could use either side, the white or the dark gray side of the reliefing block, depends on how much of that highlighted look you'd like. So here you can see there's this touch of the silver from the art metal now shining through. Now I'm going to tell you about our glaze as a sealer. It's used to maintain highlighted look of metal, and it prevents it from darkening over time. So here we have all 3 of our metals: natural brass, art metal, and artisan copper. And everything does lighten with wear and it darkens over time. So like I said, to maintain that highlighted look after reliefing, you could apply the sealer. So I'm going to go ahead and relief each piece to show you the contrast. So you can see that those raised areas that have been highlighted, if you want to maintain that light look and you don't want this to lighten more or darken over time, you're just going to apply some of the glaze as a sealer. And you'll just use your dry brush again and brush it directly over the surface. And that's going to preserve the metal. And now on some of the pieces that I've applied patina to, like I've said, you do not have to use the glaze as a sealer to make the patina permanent. However, if you wanted to keep the highlighted areas the color they are and you don't want them to change, you could apply it to that just to preserve those highlighted areas of the brass.